Welcome to the Send More Offers Real Estate Show with Brandon Barnes, showing you how to do wholesaling deals consistently without having to go on seller appointments. Learn the key tips and strategies that Brandon's students use to find deeply discounted properties that are pennies on the dollar, all while avoiding wear and tear on their vehicle, body, and freedom. Whether you're looking for your first deal or your next deal, it's time to send more offers with your host, Brandon Barnes.
Hey, welcome, Burton, man. It's good to catch up. It's been a long time, but I'm super excited to have a conversation with you. My favorite guy from Propstream. How's it going?
It's going pretty well, man. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Brandon.
Yeah, awesome. Look, I know we met at a real estate event a few years ago. I think it was the Maxwell event. This was pre-COVID. And at the time, I wasn't doing much with Propstream, but I promise you, since then, it's been incredible, an incredible asset for my business. But tell me, what was the interest for you to start working with this company, and how has it kind of really grown since you've been a part of the team?
All right. Well, funny enough, it wasn't on purpose joining the Propstream team. When I joined the Propstream team, pardon me for that, I was in the middle of kind of like a personal life crisis. My ex at the time was about 7 months pregnant. I just lost my job at a retail store, and just really looking for a job. And in my desperation, I think also in my luck, I went on Craigslist and I saw this ad. Decided to go after it, and lo and behold, it's an ad for Propstream. They needed a tech support agent, and I'm pretty good at tech. So I went in there, got the job on the spot, started the next day, and they started kind of just teaching me how to make sure people had Propstream installed properly. Like, my job wasn't really what I was doing today, not teaching anybody about Propstream, just making sure Propstream worked on their computer. And as a matter of fact, this is Propstream when I started. Like, we were a CD base. There was no website. Like, you literally had to buy the CD, install it. You had to have DSL or 56K back in the day. So that's where it all started. I got very curious over time. We had users like Brandon always calling and asking about, the software. And so I started asking them what they do in real life. And, they started telling me they're short selling, or they're a realtor, or they're investing. And that got me curious. And so I started reading books, took my real estate courses. I haven't taken the exam yet, but kind of just absorbed this information. And here we are today, right? 10 years down the road, I'm now absorbing my experience with Propstream and my experience with our users and what they do, and making content for you guys. So now when you sign up for Propstream, especially if you're new, you're going to have help videos. You're probably going to recognize my voice, or if you jump on YouTube and type in Propstream, you're going to see videos like this that are going to show you exactly how to take full advantage of our software. And that's just a little bit about me. Happy to be part of this company. It's been going strong for 16 years. Just got acquired by Stewart Title, one of the largest Stewart title companies in the nation. And so I think our trajectory is heading in the right direction, and I'm very excited to be part of that team.
Love it. Well, look, you are known in the industry, and especially on social and YouTube, as the Propstream guy. How did you get from that first role to kind of almost being the face of Propstream?
Well, I think really it was just by accident. I'm a consumer at the end of the day, right? I use products, I use softwares, and just like most people, I don't just buy things off a whim. I like to do my research. I like to, make sure I'm looking at a quality product. I don't have a lot to spend, right? Like, I'm not balling out of control. And so just like most, I hold on to my dollars a little bit tighter than others. And so what that means is I make sure that I invest it properly. And so what I discovered joining Propstream, especially in 2016, when we went from software to more web-based, what that meant is, hey, we're going to be seeing a lot more now. We're out in the public. And at the time, we didn't have any training materials. We only had this PDF user manual that you would see. It's like 50 pages long. We knew no one's going to really read it. I did, right? So I'm one of the few, but I decided to take that information and dissect it to more smaller content that can be ingested easier. So we started making shorter films, like 2-minute long videos, 4-minute long videos, things that, again, are straight to the point. How to search, how to save, how to export, how to comp, how to skip trace, how to send your postcards, etc. And then along the way, people realize, man, you're really effective at doing that. That our partners, our affiliate partners said, hey, why don't you do a live webinar with us? And little did I know my talents in socializing and my talents in just taking something very complex and making it easy to understand would benefit me along the way. And here we are today, like, I don't know, I think I'm like 500 plus webinars in and over like 50 plus events nationwide. And I'm loving it because the more I teach, the more I can train you guys to help those homeowners out there. And it's a win-win-win situation for all of us when that happens. Actually, win-win-win-win-win-win because of all the contractors and all the other people you're going to put into labor when you do your fix and flip. And that's what I love about our industry.
I love it. I love it. So you really just took that initiative on yourself and tried out something different, and it just worked.
Absolutely. And I think essentially it was a void that needed to be filled. And I'm happy I saw it at that time, and here we are today. And that's why I say I think the whole Propstream Guy, it's just an indirect thing because people see it, they recognize it, they might resonate with me a little bit more in terms of my teaching. And here I am. So I'm blessed to be recognized in that matter. But if you were to ever meet me like Brandon at We Live, I think it was We Live 19, I'm just a normal person out there, just in that grind, just like everybody else, right? So thank you so much, guys, for recognizing me as the Propstream Guy.
Awesome. Look, it is great because the more people that can understand very clearly and very easy to understand steps, the more people that are going to be helped by the product. I mean, just some background on kind of when I got into the game, I really was all about doing things for less, not as many subscriptions. And, you know, you could get good information from the county, and all of that is still true relatively, but there are just a few things that you absolutely need. And somebody starting off wholesaling just does not have access to the MLS. Propstream is that in essence. It is that ability to understand all the details. So that's one thing that I require my coaching students to purchase, or strongly suggest at least. And then for that same price that you're paying, you're getting, 10,000 free leads. And then if you sign up with one of these, the links that I share, like on Instagram, you also get an additional discount. So it's just a no-brainer. Now, that's before you guys have turned on this list automator, which is a game changer. But before we talk about that, just go on and can you let the folks know what can Propstream do for them in the real estate investing and wholesaling space?
That's a great question. I probably get that a lot, maybe every day. So, what do we do, right? Whether you're new or seasoned, whether you're a realtor, an investor, or anything in the real estate profession, we got you covered. What we do are two main things that you do regardless of Propstream being here or not. And that's lead generation and analyzing a property, right? Because when you go to the county and grab that raw data, and then you start knocking on doors or, going to the post office and sending out your own postcards, that's lead generation. Right? And you can do that in Propstream. You can search any market nationwide. You can choose any of our 18 categories, or you can build your own lists using our 150 plus filters. You can skip trace them for contact information. You can even market to them, like set up a website, send postcards and emails. We do that. That's our lead generation part. So all we did really was just study everybody in the real estate space and just kind of mimic that part, right? Start with the list, get contact information, make contact through marketing. Well, then we realized, what was going to happen next when you do that, right? The inevitable. Someone's going to call you back. Someone's going to say, hey, I got your postcard or got your email. Or if you do knock on the door, they're going to open that door and say, what do you want? And so that's why we decided to create the second part of Propstream, which actually is the initial part, which is our property details, right? And so Before Propstream started, before that CD was ever created or ever thought about, you got to imagine everybody in the real estate space was going into every conversation blindly, right? Unless they actually went and did their research ahead of time. Like you went in the county and you pulled the property data, you pulled up mortgage information, you pulled all the situation happening on that individual property, and then you called the owner, and then you had everything fully equipped, right? That wasn't the case back then. Back then, every call was blind. As a matter of fact, I know most of us have questions that we ask homeowners. Back then, 2-3 more pages were added to that because you had to ask questions about the property. You had to ask questions about the situation they might be going through, questions about their mortgage and maybe a second or any liens that they may have in the property. And then the comping part, right? So now you had to go get sales. You had to become a realtor to access the MLS sales. That's what we're doing. Right. So we're doing what you were doing, just we're not taking as long as you were doing it physically. So we're gathering that data on your behalf, the data that first and foremost comes in different formats, but we put a visual behind it. Right. So rather than staring at a paper, you get to stare at a screen with a nice picture and bar graphs and the owner's information in a nice font. And you get to see where the comps are on the map. That's the hard work that we've been doing, right? So for those that don't know what Propstream does, let me recap that. We do lead generation. You can search your market, build a list, get contact information and market to it. And then when they call you back, we're going to give you the property information, the mortgage information, what they're going through, and you'll have the ability to run comms to know what to offer eventually down the road. And that's what Propstream can do.
Love it. Love it. And that doesn't even speak to some of the other features like the Driving for Dollars app. So you're already able to see things as you're driving through, right? That doesn't speak to this list automator thing, which I promise you we're going to get to because it's been an absolute game changer for me. But before I asked you and talked about that, there's a lot of different other services out here, very similar, that can do some of the list pulling and there's the software that can run comps. What makes Propstream different? Why should folks use Propstream versus those others?
Well, I think we get complimented quite a bit on our user interface. We actually hired a focus group to stare at our product for a long time and give us some harsh criticism. What should we do? What shouldn't we do? Right. So I think one of the most important things is that user interface. Again, have to understand that the data that we source doesn't look like what you're going to see on the screen. It's in PDF files. It's in notepads. It's on those old fax papers with the hole rings on the side. Right. You guys know what that looks like. We take all of that and we put it together. Right. So that mortgage collector and that county data and that MLS data, which doesn't normally communicate and comes in different shapes and sizes and formats, we make them communicate and we make them come together. So that's one of the aspects there. But the other thing I want to everybody to understand, and I can't emphasize this enough, is that we sell data. We don't sell you a list. A lot of people tend to call in and say, Burton, what list do you have? And we have a lot, right? But I want you to understand we don't just sell lists. We sell data. So if you wanted to go in Propstream and choose one of our 18 lists and build your motivated seller list from that, and have at it. We got pre-foreclosures, bankruptcies, tired landlords, pre-probate. Sky goes on with that, right? But we have open filters for you. You have 100+ filters to create your own situation. So if you wanted, let's say, an out-of-state owner who has a vacant property and an open mortgage, you can do that. If you want to see someone who bought a house a year or two before the COVID pandemic, you can do that. Interest rates were just increased a few weeks ago. If you wanted to see all the interest rate mortgages in your market, you can do that. And so people don't realize that we're more than just giving you a list. We give you data, and you can manipulate that data to come up with some really unique motivated sellers. And I hope you understood just the few that I gave you. Maybe you can utilize that in your market. But that's something I want to emphasize is we're more than just a list provider. We provide data for you to manipulate.
For sure. I love it. And it's some great leads that you can get out of Propstream. I know some real sharpshooters that use the service and they manipulate and they find out specifically they're able to create new lists and stuff like that. If somebody wanted to get better and sharper with the ability to find those leads and those prospects and opportunities that aren't, with just the quick default filters, how have you seen folks learn how to be able to use the service better to really find truly motivated leads that are in that system? Is there any
Oh, absolutely.
trainings, things that you would suggest that people do?
Well, first I would tune in to Brandon because we're gonna have some more videos for you guys to watch, so you don't want to miss out on that. But the second one is if you just can't wait, if you're like, no, I need it now, I need to absorb it. First, click on Brandon's link. I believe it's Brandon. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's smoleads.com. What that's going to do is get you a discounted price, so you won't be paying full price. You'll get a 7-day trial period. And once you sign up, go to our main website, propstream.com, click on resources at the top, and we have daily webinars every day at 3 p.m. So if you can't wait, tune in to Tuesday's webinar. Tuesdays where we teach you how to do your first list pulling and list automator, which we'll be talking about in just a few moments.
Love it. Love it. Look, that time is now. Guys, I want to tell you something. Like, once I found out that we could literally upload the list that we would pull from the county, because, I'm a big believer in, yes, get your big absentee list, get your big lean list. But also, if you have the ability, you're driving for dollars, or you want to go down and get the probate records every week so that you're on top of them, whatever data we get from outside sources, we still upload it into Propstream. And what we've been doing is filtering out the stuff that we don't want to call, text, or mail. And it's been an absolute game changer. It's improved our contact rate. It's allowed us to have sellable deals that, folks really want to purchase, because we've trimmed the fat before we make the call. And I think you have to have the list automator to even be able to do that. And then, list automator it also allows you to set that criteria so that it automatically removes records from your data that don't fit and, adds records. But I know I didn't do the best service to answering, to sharing what it can do. How would you describe, is there anything that I missed, or what else do you really love about the list automator feature?
Well, you nailed it right on the head. I mean, those were the two main things that it can do, which is allow you to import an outside list, and we're going to append or essentially give you our data. So just like Brandon mentioned, let's say, you go to the county and you get that pre-foreclosure list, but you realize it doesn't have property characteristics. It doesn't have mortgage information. You don't know if the homeowner owns other properties or is going through other scenarios like a lien, a bankruptcy. That's what List Automator was designed for. You could take that outside list, those 100 pre-foreclosures, bring them into List Automator, import them, and now you get the other pieces of data, right? So now, instead of just going at this list of 100 pre-foreclosures blindly, I can separate the ones that have high equity, medium equity, low equity, or I can look for the ones that also filed for bankruptcy and call them first versus calling everybody else, right? So List Automator, when we created it, we thought about our users. We're very realistic, right? We're not, we're the only thing out there. We know there's other applications out there. We know users like yourself are either going to go get that data physically, or you're going to use this product and that product and that product. Being in this business, what we also know is that no one has every piece of data. So what we decided to do was, hey, why don't you put all the pieces of data together using List Automator? Because at the end of the day, it's not about us versus them. It's about how we can service you so you can service that homeowner, right? And what we realize is the more data you have, the better the decisions you can make, so that you don't walk into a scenario losing, right? We know in this industry, one mistake could cost us a lot. And that's not what we want to do, because just like I said earlier, we love it. We love this industry because it's a win-win-win-win. But this industry could also be a lose-lose-lose, right? You can make a bad decision, and now that homeowner may go into an auction. You may not get your property flipped, or you may not acquire that property. And then obviously we're not going to be happy about it as well, right? So List Automator was designed so that you could take our data, piece it together with others, make that better decision. And don't just think it's for data today. I've seen people use
Right.
our List Automator import feature to update a list from like 3 years ago. Don't get
Mm,
me wrong. I know what the cost was with those lists many years ago. They weren't cheap. So if you've been
right.
sitting on a list of vacant properties, you can import that today and we can tell you which ones are still vacant. Right? You might be sitting on a gold mine, you don't even realize it yet. So consider that as well.
Love it. Love it. Look, that is a value bomb. I gotta drop one. Because to be able to pull out an old list, and guys, remember, for instance, probate. That's one of the things that I started with early on. Probate records, sometimes once you reach out to that homeowner, they're not ready right then. It's still fresh. It's very emotional. Some of the best leads for probate are from a year, 2 years ago, where they've had time to settle in. But how would you know that? You can literally take an old list and upload it and see which ones recently sold, which ones are actively listed on the MLS right now, and remove them before you make any calls, text, or mail. Like, it's amazing. It absolutely is a game changer. um, Talk about the lead generation piece real quick, because I know you mentioned, I mean, I know you kind of already talked about it, but the difference between pulling lists and being able to generate specific leads, like how do you define that? 'Cause I know you mentioned that and we were
Yeah,
chit chatting
that's a
earlier.
great thing. So, being in this industry a lot, one of the common things I hear is, how frequently is your data, what lists that you have? And these are very good questions. And so I've shown people how to look at frequency within their market using certain features that we have in our Propstream. I explained to them that certain data only gets updated certain times. Like, for example, equity data only gets updated usually once a month because people only make a mortgage payment once a month, right?
Mm,
So like you're not going to see an update with equity data every day. It doesn't make sense because nobody's making a mortgage payment every day.
right.
So things like that, you'll have to understand that there's limitations when it comes to data. But along the way, I realized that when people are building a list in PropStream or any platform in general, they're taking what I believe is called and this is my opinion, my label to it, the traditional approach. And what I mean by that is, before technology, before PropStream, before any of this stuff, how were investors pulling their data? They would physically go to the county and grab a list, a high equity list, a pre foreclosure list, a bankruptcy list, right? Take it back to the office and work off that list, right? And so when softwares came in and web based softwares came in, they mimicked that same behavior. You search your market and you grab a list, and here are some filters to refine that. And you can do that in PropStream, right? So if you're used to that behavior, we can do it at a much faster efficiency, right? But
Right.
what people again fail to realize is we provide data. We don't just provide lists. And so I keep emphasizing that is because I can go in PropStream right now and search your market and not pick a list. While you're pulling pre foreclosures and you're pulling liens and bankruptcies, I can go in there and say, you know what, I want a homeowner who's lived in their house for 7 years and has an adjustable rate mortgage. That's it. That's all I want. Why? Because they just increase the interest rates, and I want to look at people that are going to be impacted by that. And these are people that may not be on a pre-foreclosure list yet, may not be on a lien list yet, may not be on a bankruptcy list yet. And so while you're waiting to pull a list, I'm pulling people that are probably going to show up on a list soon. And that's why I have this philosophy that I believe called a lead is not always a list, or a lead is not a list, right?
Mm,
So what that means is that there are things that you can do with our data to find those motivated sellers that are, again, not on a list. And here's a good example of one.
yeah.
Working with a friend of mine. She's in North Carolina, and I showed her this strategy, and she ran with it. She called me back a few months later, and she said, hey, I have this really good filter I'd like to share with you. And what she does is she looks for 10 years of ownership, occupied properties, by the way, right? So the owners are living there and whatnot. But the motivation is one bathroom. 10 years of ownership,
Mm,
1 year about one bathroom. Think about that. I mean, I can't
mm,
even do that for 6 months. Imagine someone who's done that for 10 years. Now, and you got to understand, why would someone buy a one bathroom property, right? 10 years ago, right? Either because that was their budget. Maybe now things are a lot better, right? 10 years, you got equity, whatever. Or maybe they had kids. Maybe they had a 2-3-year-old. Don't need a second bathroom. But 10 years have gone by. I mean, that's a 13-year-old now. And those teenagers are hogging up the bathroom for those TikTok videos. I'm sure that parent wants to get that second bathroom, right? And that's what we do. We provide data for you to manipulate. So you can either take that traditional stance or build that situation. Again, a lead isn't always a list. So thank you for letting me share that philosophy with your audience.
Yo, I love that. That's exactly what I wanted to be able to do here is open you guys' mind up to really being good with the data. It all starts with that. If you don't have good data, you don't have anything, because wholesaling and real estate investing is real estate in general, period, is a marketing business. Marketing is our business. Real estate is the outcome, right? And so having the data to go after those leads is super, super important. And I love it. People are super creative. And look, that serves as our kind of deal breakdown. And I don't know, do you know the realtor from North Carolina? Was she able to be successful? Did she close some deals? How did that go for her?
Yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, she has called this new search of hers, and I'm sure she doesn't mind you guys taking it. She calls it the double listing search. She's a realtor. And I asked her, why do you call it the double listing search? And she's like, get this. If I can get them to list their 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom property, I show that listing to my rehab buyers. And what they see is they need to put a second bathroom in there, right? So let's say she gets the 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom property in January. Let's say she gets it over to her buyers in February. 6 months later, they rehab that property. August, as a thank you, the buyers let her list it again. You see why she calls it a double listing?
Yeah.
That blew my mind, all because she understood building situations versus the traditional search.
Love it. Do you know about if how many deals maybe she's done? Did she give you a sense of like, oh, I've done this multiple times?
I haven't spoken to her recently. I'm sure she probably has done a handful of those. She's a very successful realtor, and that's not her only strategy out there. But I would say based on that filter, I'd be confident enough to say maybe she's done about at least 4 or 5 under her belt. I'm sure if I double check with her, I wouldn't be surprised if she's like, oh, we've done dozens already. We're doing it in multiple markets. But I would say confidently, I would be able to confidently stand here and say she probably did for about 4 or 5 confidently that way.
Well, I want to give an air horn for that, because that's amazing. Look, Burton, I really, really appreciate it. And I want to make sure that folks know, and we're going to have a giveaway because I really believe in the product. This is one of the ones that it absolutely is a must have. You must have this. You must have skip tracing. And, for me and my business, and I think for any business, you should have some type of dialer or CRM. And those 3 things you need Propstream. So we're going to do a special giveaway right on the backside of the lightning round. But I want to remind you guys, SMO leads with an S.com is how you can get your membership to Propstream. SMO for similar offers, of course, leads with an S.com to sign up. Burton, I can't let you out of here without putting you through the lightning round. Are you ready?
Yes, let's go for it.
All right, so in this lightning round, I have a handful of questions for you. You don't know the question. I don't know the answer. So just say the first thing that comes to your mind. What's been a book that's been instrumental for your growth within this space and industry that you're in?
It's actually right here. It's a Bigger Pockets book. Brandon Turner, you guys know him. It's called The Book on Investing in Real Estate with No and Low Money Down. As I was trying to understand, how our users were utilizing our application, it dawned upon me that you can buy properties in multiple different ways, not just selling it through a realtor, which I was gullible. That's how I thought you had to buy properties. I didn't know you can buy it privately in cash. I didn't know there was sub-twos and lease options and this and that and short sales. That book opened my eyes that, hey, there's multiple multiple strategies out that. And once I realized that, I realized, hey, our system can help everybody, right? Whether you want high, low, or even negative equity, whether you want someone at the last stop or at the very early stages, kind of clicked. So merging that knowledge with our technology, here I am today. So that book definitely on the top of my list.
Love it. And just by the way, do you do any real estate investing yourself? Do you have any properties? Have you done any flips?
No. Well, yeah, I mean, property owner, but no, I don't do investing myself. I'm just focused on the data for you guys.
Yeah, no, look, we appreciate it, Ro, and it's been a game changer. Absolutely. I want to know, who is one person, if you could have coffee or drinks with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Who would it be and why? It'd probably be Albert Einstein, to be frank with you. And why? The reason for is just the way just how he processed the day to day, right? We tend to look at things in black and white, and I feel that he would be a person that would just have a different perspective of many things. And that's something I realize. I look at very successful people, and I realize that in my travels, meeting successful people, they're not successful because of, they have this, 5.0 GPA mindset, and they're not successful because, they came from a successful background. They're successful because they just look at things differently. And in that vision of theirs, or in that perspective of theirs, it dawned upon them that, there was a certain way to do something different, right? And that way obviously is different from everybody else. And that's what makes them that 1%, right? And so to me, he would definitely be on the top of my list, Albert Einstein, solely because I think he would just have a different perspective of how things would work when we would have a conversation about anything.
Yeah, I love it. I'm sure he would create some amazing lead lists using Propstream if he was here.
He'd probably look at our data and be like, these are the most highly motivated sellers. You should go after them, right?
Right. That's amazing. What's your best advice for someone looking to do their very first real estate investing deal?
Partner up. Meet someone who's obviously done the business, established, credible, and has a big heart. There are a lot of people out there who know the business, but will take advantage of you as well. They'll utilize their experience, their knowledge, and you may pay a lot for it, and that's okay. I mean, depending on what they know. I mean, that's the thing about education is, the higher the quality, the higher the cost, and I believe that, right? But that's why you have to do your research. But I would say try to partner up with something. You might have never heard of this term before. You might have. It's called JV, joint venturing. Definitely lean on that. You have your talents. Someone has their talents, and if you can find someone where you can blend those two talents together, perfect. Like, I know people that are good with the systems, but they're not good with cold calling. They're not good with that, but they could find someone who's good at that, right? And so that's my biggest advice, is definitely try to find a partner, a mentor, someone who can guide you through the things that you're not very confident, very familiar with.
Love it. Look, in this next question, I typically ask, what's the financial goal you have for your business for this calendar year? You're not necessarily real estate investing, so don't worry about that. The follow-up to that, though, is if you woke up tomorrow and you had $500 million deposited into your account overnight, what's the first thing that you would go out and purchase with that newfound money?
Are we talking about personal or for the business?
Oh, for a personal, your own thing, vanity purchase, investing, whatever.
The first thing I'd probably buy would be a bank. And then with that bank, I'd probably allocate the resources to communities that really need it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to just be handing out money to everybody. We'll have a good quality or a qualifying application, but I do feel like there's a lot of our community members that could utilize that. As you guys are seeing, it's getting harder and harder to own properties. And I feel like, people with that amount of money could potentially close that gap a little bit more. So without a doubt, I would probably end up buying a bank with that type of money.
That's an excellent answer and very unique. One other question. What do you think is changing? What will be changing, or what direction do you think you guys are heading in now that Stewart title has purchased you? Is there some new things coming down the pipe? Are you guys doing anything different, or just continuing to do what you do right now really, really well going forward? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, for those that don't know, we were acquired by Stewart Title, obviously one of the biggest title companies in the nation, in November of last year. This was November 2021. A few $100 million was the transaction. So definitely look that up to read more about it. But the cool thing is that we're still operating independently. They love our culture. They love our trajectory. So we're still able to maintain what we're doing today. And the real cool part about it really is that, we got to where we're at with about, 16 years of data, right? And here we are today. We got acquired by Stewart Title at where we're at. For those that don't understand, Stewart Title's been around for 100 plus years, and we're now part of that family. I like to think of it as we just got keys to the castle, right?
Yeah.
And so if you can only understand we got this far with 16 years of data, just imagine what we're going to be able to do with that amount of data that they have as well. Plus, we're in the network with their other acquisitions, so lots of other technology and companies that we've been able to communicate with. So all I'm going to tell you right now is that a lot of R&D is being worked on right now. I can't give you any hints on what we're working on. But just know that what you're staring at today will probably, be much different down the pipeline, but different for you in a good way, because all we're trying to do is make data more efficient for you to dissect, for you to read, so that you can talk to these owners much more efficiently, more confidently, and get that deal done a little bit sooner than later.
Love it, love it, love it. And for all those folks, there was a little hiccup after the acquisition where you guys maybe lost some of the data, but you got it right back. So all those folks that were, making jokes on Instagram, look, you guys got the last laugh. I stayed down because I think the most important thing for me, like I said, cleaning my list ahead of time, and like I just love the software. So you guys may want to join while the price is still what it is today. Last one, I'm gonna get you out of here on this one. If you know somebody out there, if you for the listener that is maybe listening to this and they're still struggling, they haven't gotten it going, they haven't figured it out, haven't done their first deal, what advice would you tell that person that just wants to wants to get into this business and start working?
You got to get around people that are doing the business. Go to your local meetups, talk to your realtors, talk to your local investors. What I don't want you to do is get into analysis paralysis. I don't want you sitting there and watching videos. I don't want you sitting there. I mean, it's good. They're going to motivate you, but that motivation may only last 24, 72 hours, right? So you got to get yourself involved with other people that are doing it, and be confident. Let them know you haven't done a deal. You don't have to do a deal to negotiate to communicate with people that have done a deal. The more transparent you are, the better you are in their eyes. And as they say, you are the average of your 5 friends, right? So if you're not hanging out with any investors and realtors, then guess what? That's just only going to foreshadow what you might be doing, right? So you got to start incorporating investors and people in the business, the real estate business, into your circle. And doing that, a lot more resources are going to unfold for you, because again, in our industry, and this is what I like about our industry, we love to help everybody. You may not think that. We're competitive. Don't get me wrong. One investor, next investor, they're competitive. But when you go to the events, we all hug and shake hands with one another. We share our wins with one another, right? At the end of the day, even though we're competing with one another, we know that we're helping the community as a whole. And so get with your local investors and realtors and befriend them. That's the best advice I can give you.
Love it. True words never said. You are the product of the 5 most people you hang out with and spend your time with. Really good stuff, guys. But Burton, before I let you go, I know we were just chatting before this started. I want to do a special giveaway and invite someone to receive a year subscription to Propstream on me.
What?
We're going to take care of that for you guys. A $1,200 value. I think it's a great idea. And I appreciate the value that you've given me, and I want to pay it forward and pass it on. I love the service. So guys, I'm going to run this for about a week, maybe through the end of August. To go to my Instagram account at IamBBarnes and DM me the word Propstream. DM me the word Propstream. So go ahead and follow and DM the word Propstream, and we will be picking the lucky winner. Like I said, about $1,200 of value and much, much more. You're going to make so much money with this software service. But you have to head over there and you'll get a year subscription on me. I'm going to get with Burton. Hopefully he gives me a good rate for the year. But look, guys, I want to do this for you just as, like I said, paying it forward. And Burton's been great with me and helping my team continue to do some things. So we're going to be doing some webinars coming soon. Burton, is there anything else? Is there any other resource you want to share with folks? Maybe your YouTube channel or anything? Your social?
Oh, no, just pretty much. Yeah, you can find me on social media. You can find Propstream social media. We do have a call center from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Chat is open over the weekend. So guys, if you have any questions regarding our application, don't hesitate to call in. We'll be happy to answer any questions you might have related to Propstream. So yeah, give us a call.
Guys, Burton is the man. He is the Propstream guy, and I am Brandon Barnes, and this is Send More Offers, guys. So I want you to continue to send more offers and do more deals. Until next time, thanks again, B. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Peace.
That's all for this episode of the Send More Offers Real Estate Show with Brandon Barnes. But we know you're craving more knowledge to get yourself ready for that next deal. To schedule a call with Brandon to learn more about how to do deals consistently without seller appointments in a repeatable way, be sure to visit us at sendmoreoffers.com. And be sure to tune in for the next episode of the Send More Offers Real Estate Show.